People, deluded. Now, in relation to Arsenal versus Bournemouth, I think I've done my preview already, so I'm not going to continue at this point. I do have to say an apology. I thought we were still 10th. We've actually dropped to 11th, and that means we'll obviously be in the bottom half of the table on Christmas Day for the first time since 1983. I don't know where we finished that season. I wasn't even a thing in this world. So you lot are old enough, you might have negative memories of that year. But moving on, Arteta's obviously said stuff, and I thought I would offer my 2 pence on the relevant bits I got from his press conference, or offering his thoughts. The first bit, I've actually lost it, people. It's actually in relation to Mesut Ozil, who I hate to speak about, people, but it's always going to need to be spoken about because of who he is, because of his form, because of the wages. Ozil and this and that, for better or worse, it's going to be used similar to United and Pogba and etc. But he said, and he's given a diplomatic answer, and it will remain to be seen, because Emery looked like him and Ozil were blessed, but I do think Ozil is a bit of an enigma. You have to manage him well. Ozil isn't playing well, isn't playing anything to suggest he should be part of the team, key part of the team, to behave like he does at times, allegedly, because I think he applies himself in training, but you know his personality is a bit of a whiner, it looks like, and he can be difficult. He gave a bit of a diplomatic answer. When you hear Arteta speak about aggression and all of these things, it doesn't really look like Ozil has a place in this team. Ozil's got qualities that no one else has in this team. I personally believe, at least until we've identified the creative midfielder, at least until his contract runs out, don't get me wrong, because of where he is now, I think him and the club need to divorce, but I think we could use him if the team was patterned in several ways as that creative midfielder. Once again, I think we should leave him and build differently, but I think you could do that. But when I hear aggression and all of these things, it doesn't seem like he's going to like Mesut Ozil. He might genuinely use him, but I think his answer was a bit diplomatic, and he said, apologies. I don't know, he might draw comparisons with David Silva and try and inspire Mesut to do that sort of thing. And could he get aggression out of Ozil? Maybe being a former teammate, he understands him and he's been in the trenches a bit more. And you can always teach an old dog new tricks, of course, but if Mesut was going to change, Mesut would have changed now. He should go to a team which is probably a bit lower that can build around him. We can't afford to do that because, listen, look at our midfield. If you've got Xhaka and Ozil in the midfield, it's not a criticism, but you already have 2 players that are not athletically built. Do you get it? So we're going to be working 10 times harder as a team. Then you've obviously got Torreira who's doing his own thing, Guendouzi who is naive, a team that can't defend with the personnel, a team that can't defend from the front, and it's just passengers. Everybody's got their frailties in this team, so I'm not scapegoating them two at all. I'm just highlighting the frailties, because if I'm an opposition man and I see Ozil and Xhaka in that midfield, you already know they're playing with 9 men in terms of a defence. They'll both put in application, but you can overrun that midfield, you get it. Ozil presses and that, but you need players who are a bit more aggressive than what he does. Ozil does the minimum. He'll press that, he'll cover ground, he'll press his fullback if he's supposed to press, but beyond that, bar the occasional big circumstance, you're not going to see that from Ozil. Arteta said, I told them you're not going to be judged on things you've done in the past, whether they are negative or positive. This is evolving every day, and I'm expecting you to perform and to be in the right mindset every single day for me. If you do that, you'll have a chance to play. If you don't, you won't. So again, Arteta's not an idiot. There are some players that will not feature, but obviously everybody starts again, so everyone's going to apply themselves. Everyone's going to be free of their mind. If Ozil earns his shirt, he'll earn his shirt. He might have plans for Ozil, like I said. Obviously, being with Pep Guardiola, he must have seen how to manage relations as well, especially around them star players, because City, you probably have... Listen, these players have to understand joining City, they're not going to play every week unless you're deserving it, but can you imagine every week Pep Guardiola, if he wasn't him, would have to explain, oh, Mahrez, I got to leave you out, man. Sterling, Sane, do you get it? At some point, you've got to become a bit more skilled and whatnot and make them buy into what you're trying to do. He was obviously asked as well in relation to if he saw things or high energy levels or an increased energy level at Everton. He said, I did. We are much more committed. We have a different kind of aggression every time we lose the ball. I think the body language was much better than in the past few games. I think they played with more passion in this game. Obviously, there were things to improve, but those things have to be non-negotiable. Those things have to be on the table in every game, every training session, and the way we are going to live together. And that's true, people. We've conceded 27 goals from 18 games. Listen, I want him to make these boys enjoy playing football. Some of them are very good technical players, and if we can improve our transition and all these things, can play some bad boy football. But until we change our outlook, every member of that team from front to back defensively and our whole approach to defending, we will not improve as a team, people. So the energy levels are there. Obviously, when he's speaking about things that must improve, our transitioning, our positioning, our purpose from playing out from the back. Everton were poor with their chances, but we did give them some schoolboy ones. So these are the things he's obviously speaking about, people. He did obviously speak in relation to transfers, and he said there's been so much going on in the last 48 hours. He's kind of played it down, but you can imagine when the moment them man there were discussing if Arteta's going to come, transfers, as much as coaching and whatnot, transfers was a big agenda. Who can I bring in? Assurances that you're going to identify these areas, whether it's big, high-profile players or competent individuals to step up, especially the spine of this side. Blind man could see. Midfield, centre-half. We can all harp on about right back, winger, this, that, sell striker, bring in this. But fundamentally, centre half and centre mid is what needs to improve, people. The spine of this team. Everything else is gravy. Do you get it? Everything. You have your rice, you have your chicken. If you've got the extras, you can start talking about mac and cheese and coleslaw and getting more gravy and doing all these things. We need the basics to keep us alive. Them carbs and that meat. If you're vegan, tough luck, because I'm not. But moving on, people. He spoke in relation to Bournemouth. He said, we will try to put the most competitive team out there against that team. We know how tricky that stadium is and how complicated they are going to make it for us. But we have to be ready. We analyse opponents. We try to nullify them as much as possible and to make, as I said before, as predictable as possible for us. So when our players jump onto that field, they know who they are facing, and that's good. Leave nothing to chance. He did speak about racism as well, which I should have mentioned first. He more or less does. Listen, I don't want to focus on these negative events, people, because I'm actually in a good mood. But he's more or less condemned it, said everything that everybody that's a decent human has said. We need to condemn it, stamp it out, actually go harder on this thing. Big up Arteta for speaking on that as well. And he's spoken about protocols if it happened against Arsenal as well. And I say what I liked the best till last. He said he was asked on what his priority is or immediate priority. He said, the priority, as I said before, is what we're going to transmit on the team, is a reflection of the demands we are going to put on them every day in training. That's commitment, accountability, aggression and passion to play this sport and to represent this club. People, he summed up everything I've said in about 1 million vids. I bring out 4 videos a day on average, I assume. He has said it up there. Accountability in your performance and what you've done wrong to contribute to this poor result. Then you start digging out other players. Responsibility. Remembering what it means like to play for this team. What other good words did he say that's exciting me? Aggression and passion. That's what you want to see. It's all fun and games, showing it occasionally against Spurs or in our 1-1 victory against Liverpool last season at the Emirates or the year before, which that's the most positive result we've had against Liverpool, so I'm going to keep bringing that up. You need to show it every day. Everything you're doing, how you, I'm exaggerating a bit, but how you sleep, how you eat, when the cameras are not on. Because everything you do off the football field is what makes a difference on it. And until we're all on that same page, we're getting nowhere. And he said, this is the basic I am going to demand from them. And from there, we can start to build things and improve all the things. Obviously, that have to be done as quickly as possible. But if we don't have this in the right manner, I think it will be difficult. Which, yeah, man, if you're not with the cause, you need to bust out. You need to keep it moving, really and truly. Like there isn't much more you can say. I mean, that's what I love to hear from Arteta. Sadly, there's some issues I believe with injuries. Bellerin is fit, but it'll always be touch and go. Rob Holding's left knee is being assessed ahead of the Bournemouth game. You already know Kolasinac is out. And Martinelli, who didn't look 100% in all the game, he looked like he took a couple knocks, has a tight left hamstring. As much as I think Martinelli should start on the weekend, I and a lot of you, we all probably forgot he's 17. He had some experience because he's not a complete novice. He got some game time in Brazil. But we got to remember the physical demands. And just because again, it's lovely to see that he runs around and he puts in the effort and he's just and he's consistent. but we need to worry about his body. We don't want him to get a long-term injury. Arsenal fans, you know how detrimental injuries can be to our young players and how much if it becomes recurring. So if he potentially needs to come out of the side on Boxing Day because of this hamstring injury, then I believe we should, because hamstrings are very dangerous. I'm not a physio man, but I know from speaking to footballers, that's one thing you shouldn't play with. Even if it's a thing where you feel it's only slightly pulled and you can still play, don't do it. Come off that field. Who pulled their hamstring in the Spurs-Chelsea game, I believe? It was either that or the United one. Or was it Arsenal? I can't remember. Either way, someone at the weekend pulled their hamstring and it was like they were continuing. It might have been Kevin De Bruyne or it might have been a Chelsea lad. But somebody pulled their hamstring. And even the commentator said it's very dangerous to keep playing because we get you want to fight for the cause. But to get at people, you can be out for 3, 4 to 5 weeks or so with a hamstring knock. It can be a calm week or 2 weeks with general cramp, but you can extend that issue if you don't do things properly. But I've got nothing more to add, man. I've got a whole heap of videos, so check out all the other vids. Thank you for persisting with this one. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if you're not going to return to my channel, which I hope that's not the case. Make sure you comment your opinions. Make sure you like this. I hope you all watch that ad because we need them coins. On that note, people, DG, it's a pleasure. I'm out.